My name is Avalon Rosamond Blackwood, and what I'm about to share with you changed everything I thought I knew about our modern world. Before I tell you what God revealed to me about technology during my near-death experience, I need you to understand that I was once just like you, completely immersed in our digital age. My phone practically an extension of my hand. The following happened on October 12th, 2023. Just 5 more minutes, I mumbled to myself, scrolling through my social media feed as I walked down the busy Seattle sidewalk. The morning fog hung low, creating an ethereal atmosphere that I barely noticed, too absorbed in my screen. I was already running late for my marketing team meeting, but the latest viral video had me hooked. That's the last thing I remember before everything changed. They told me later that a delivery truck had run a red light. The impact was instant. I never even saw it coming. In that split second, my physical body was thrown 20 feet across the intersection, but my consciousness, that's where the real journey began. The first sensation was floating, not the gentle kind you experience in a pool, but a powerful upward pull, as if my very essence was being drawn out of my broken body below. I watched from above as paramedics rushed to what remained of me on the pavement, their movements urgent, but seeming to happen in slow motion. My phone lay shattered nearby, its screen still glowing with that last video I'd been so absorbed in. But that scene quickly faded away. The physical world dissolved into a tunnel of the purest light I've ever experienced. People who've had NDEs often describe this light, but no words can truly capture its essence. It wasn't just brightness. It was living knowledge, pure love, absolute understanding all woven into visible form. As I moved through this tunnel, I became aware of a presence. No, that's not quite right. I became aware of the presence. The love that emanated from this being was beyond anything our human minds can comprehend. It was God, but not the stern, judgmental figure I'd imagined from Sunday school. This was pure, unconditional love, so intense it would have overwhelmed my physical body. But in this state, I could receive it fully. "Welcome, my child," the voice said, though voice isn't the right word. It was more like pure thought transmitted directly into my consciousness. The presence took on a form I could comprehend, not exactly human, but not the blinding light either. It was as if my mind was being allowed to perceive just enough that I could handle the interaction. What happened next is why I'm sharing this story. God showed me a series of visions about humanity's relationship with technology, and what I saw both amazed and terrified me. The first vision was like watching humanity's entire technological evolution in fast forward. From the first stone tools, to the printing press, to electricity, to computers, to our current digital age. But I wasn't just watching it. I was experiencing the collective human consciousness throughout these developments. I felt the initial wonder, the expanding possibilities, and then the subtle shift. "Do you see it?" the presence asked, drawing my attention to something I'd never noticed before. In the vision, I could see golden threads of human connection, the natural bonds between people, families, communities. These threads had remained strong through most of human history, but in the modern era, they were being replaced by artificial connections. Digital threads, if you will, that looked similar, but lacked the vital spiritual energy of real human bonds. "Your species has created wonderful tools," God explained, "but you've allowed these tools to become false idols. They're replacing the direct connection to both divine love and human love that I designed you to experience." The vision shifted, and I saw millions of people, their faces illuminated by screens, but their spiritual lights dimming. It wasn't that technology itself was evil. God made that very clear. The problem was how we were using it to fill voids that only genuine human connection and divine love were meant to fill. I was shown social media platforms from a spiritual perspective. What I saw shocked me. Each notification, each like, each brief digital interaction released a tiny dopamine hit that mimicked genuine connection but left the soul malnourished. We were replacing deep, meaningful relationships with shallow digital ones, and our spirits were starving. But Lord, I asked, isn't technology helping us connect more than ever? We can talk to people across the world instantly. The response came with another vision. I saw two scenarios side by side. In one, two friends sat across from each other at a cafe, phones down, engaged in deep conversation. Their spiritual energies intertwined and strengthened each other. In the other, two people with thousands of social media connections sat alone in their rooms, scrolling through feeds, feeling increasingly isolated despite their digital connections. The tool is not the problem, God explained. The problem is that humanity has forgotten the difference between connection and connection. I could hear the capital C in the second word. You've created a world of constant noise that drowns out my whispers to your hearts. Then came the most disturbing vision. I was shown a possible future, not a certain one, but a path we're heading down. In it, human consciousness had become so fragmented by constant digital stimulation that people had lost the ability to hear the divine at all. Their spiritual reception, if you will, was too cluttered with digital static. But there is hope, the presence assured me. This is why you're being shown these things. The next vision was beautiful. I saw people using technology mindfully, as a tool rather than a replacement for genuine connection. I saw families having device-free dinners, their spiritual bonds strengthening. I saw people using social media to arrange real-world meetings rather than replacing them. I saw meditation apps being used to help people quiet their minds and hear God's voice again, rather than just as another form of digital distraction. The message was clear. Technology itself is a gift, but like any gift, it can be misused. The key is consciousness and balance. Your generation has been given great power, God told me. With it comes great responsibility. You must help others understand that digital connection, while valuable, must not replace the essential spiritual connections that give life its meaning. I was shown how our brains are literally being rewired by constant digital stimulation, making it harder for us to experience the deep, contemplative states where divine connection happens naturally. But I was also shown how this can be reversed through conscious choices and digital boundaries. What should I tell people? I asked, feeling overwhelmed by the responsibility of this message. The answer came with crystal clarity. Tell them to look up. Tell them to look into each other's eyes. Tell them to remember that I created them for deep, genuine connection, with each other and with me. Tell them that every time they choose a real conversation over a digital one, they strengthen their spiritual muscles. Tell them that every time they silence their phones to pray or meditate, they clear the channel between us. I was then shown something that brought tears to my spiritual eyes. The immense love God has for every human being, even those who doubt or deny divine existence. I saw how every soul is constantly being called toward greater connection and love, but how modern distractions are making it harder for people to hear this call. Your devices are not meant to be barriers between us, God explained. But too often, that's what they've become. When you check your phone first thing in the morning, instead of spending a moment in gratitude or prayer, you're choosing digital connection over divine connection. When you scroll through social media, instead of having a heart-to-heart with a loved one, you're choosing quantity of connection over quality. The presence showed me how many people are using technology to escape the very emotions and experiences that could lead them to spiritual growth. Instead of sitting with uncomfortable feelings or working through difficult relationships, they're numbing themselves with endless scrolling and digital distractions. Tell them about the joy of real presence. God instructed. Remind them what it feels like to be fully present in a moment, undistracted by digital notifications. Remind them of the peace that comes from genuine connection, with nature, with each other, with me. I was shown how many young people are suffering from anxiety and depression, largely due to the artificial standards and constant comparison fostered by social media. God's love for these struggling souls was palpable, and I was shown how many of them could find healing through renewed focus on real-world connections and spiritual growth. But don't condemn the technology, the presence emphasized. It's not the tool that's the problem. It's the unconscious way it's being used. Technology can be used to spread love, to facilitate genuine connection, to help people find their way back to me. The key is consciousness and intention. As my time in this divine presence began to draw to a close, I was given a final vision. I saw people all over the world awakening to the need for digital balance. I saw communities coming together to create tech-free spaces and times. I saw families rediscovering the joy of uninterrupted meals and conversations. I saw individuals finding peace in silent moments of prayer and meditation, their phones turned off and put away. Remember, God said, you are spiritual beings having a human experience, not digital beings having a virtual experience. Help my children remember this truth. Just before I was sent back, I was given one final message. The technology you've created can serve a divine purpose when used with wisdom and consciousness, but it must never replace the direct experience of love, both human and divine. That is what you were created for. The return to my body was sudden. I gasped awake in the hospital 3 days later, my family surrounding me with tears of joy. The doctors called my recovery miraculous, multiple broken bones and internal injuries that somehow healed faster than they'd ever seen. But the physical healing wasn't the miracle. The miracle was the message I'd been given to share. Since that day, I've completely transformed my relationship with technology. I still use it. I'm even sharing this story through digital means. But I use it consciously, as a tool, rather than a replacement for real connection. I have set times for device-free prayer and meditation. I prioritize face-to-face conversations over digital ones. I've learned to listen for God's voice in the silence between notifications. The changes in my life have been profound. My relationships are deeper. My spiritual connection is stronger. My mind is clearer. And most importantly, I feel aligned with my true purpose, helping others find this same balance. To everyone reading this, I want you to know that God's love for you is beyond anything you can imagine. The divine presence I experienced wants nothing more than for you to experience the fullness of genuine connection with others and with the divine. Technology can be part of that journey, but it should never be the destination. Take a moment right now. Look up from your screen. Take a deep breath. Feel the possibility of deeper connection that exists in every moment. And remember, you were created for so much more than digital distraction. You were created for love, for genuine connection, for divine communion. The choice of how to use technology is yours. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose love. Since my experience, I've started speaking at churches and community centers about finding digital balance while maintaining strong faith. I've seen countless people transform their lives by making simple changes in how they interact with technology. It's not about giving up our devices. It's about putting them in their proper place. I still keep the shattered remains of my phone from that fateful day. It serves as a reminder of how I used to live and the precious message I was given to share. Every time I look at it, I remember God's words about modern technology and our desperate need for genuine connection. If you're reading this, it's no accident. Perhaps you're being called to examine your own relationship with technology and spiritual connection. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to choose, to look up, to reach out, to connect deeply, to listen for the divine whisper in your heart. The message I was given isn't just about the dangers of technology, it's about hope. Hope that we can use these incredible tools wisely while staying connected to what truly matters. Hope that we can find our way back to genuine human connection and divine communion. Hope that we can create a future where technology serves our highest good rather than diminishing our spiritual potential. As I conclude this account of my near-death experience, I want to emphasize that the most important thing I learned wasn't about technology at all. It was about love. God's love for us is infinite and unchanging. No amount of digital distraction can diminish it. The question is, are we willing to quiet our devices long enough to feel it? The choice is yours. What will you do with this message?